Well, you probably think of fruit flies as pests, but it may surprise you to learn that cancer researchers at local universities view them as a treasure trove of information.
That's right, and John Snell explains how they might even hold the key to some future medical breakthrough in a special report, Fly By You.
Soy flour, cornmeal, and yeast.
In a room that's part laboratory, part kitchen on the edge of the CBD, Kai Costa fixes up a special recipe.
A pudding-like consistency. Just 1 second.
A gourmet meal fit for
Flies like sweet things.
fruit flies. Thousands of ravenously hungry adults and larvae at the Louisiana Cancer Research Center.
Fruit flies have been being used by scientists for decades.
Many of the important findings.
Dr. Wu Min Dang at Tulane is one of those scientists.
So when you tell neighbors or lay people what you do,
So,
how do you explain that?
yeah, we say we use fruit flies to study cancer.
Because to most people, fruit flies are just an annoying,
I mean, it's the same, I mean, if the flies in my kitchen, I would be annoyed too.
Turns out that fruit flies have a lot in common with Homo sapiens. We and the flies share much of the same DNA.
It's estimated actually more than 75% of the human disease genes are actually, you can find a match.
These flies in a lab at LCRC look dead. Actually, researchers gave them a dose of CO2 to knock them out.
Put them on the pad so you can see that now the flies are asleep.
Researchers use a microscope and a small brush to sort the flies based on gender or other differences.
So a lot of this is kind of a first step in pretty complex medical treatments and drug development. This is kind of where it starts, if you will.
That's right, that's right. So basically, many of the important findings in biological science actually are first made in flies.
The flies provide a unique opportunity to address how cancers form and how they progress.
They're just a great way to make some early genetic discoveries.
From here, research might move on to laboratory tests in mice, for example. But fruit flies can be stored and, for that matter, fed more easily than larger, more complex creatures, turning a year into weeks.
And then they can generate thousands of flies at a relatively inexpensive cost, whereas to generate thousands of mice for a project is extremely expensive.
Fruit flies have been used in research on other illnesses, from diabetes to neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's.
They are much simpler. That's why you can use this as a discovery tool to figure out what are the major factors.
Dr. Junwan Ji came to America from China, studying the process by which animals and plants grow and develop.
My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she passed away the same year that I received my PhD.
So that's why I want to do the sequencing.
The loss of his mother changed his research focus to cancer biology. That could mean isolating a gene that causes cancer or trying some new treatment not yet ready for humans.
Into the fly food, you can add some drugs, for example, to study the effects of those drugs over the flies.
The LCRC is a public-private partnership between LSU, Tulane, Ochsner, and Xavier. Researchers here work with other institutions across Louisiana in a special collaboration.
We call it Fly By You.
Fly By You, a way of sharing some of the latest discoveries. And in an academic setting, researchers at LCRC talk to doctors actually working with patients, theoretically leading to faster clinical trials. Starting with those pesky little creatures that interrupt your backyard barbecue.
Mostly I see it as a way to discover new things very quickly that might be relevant. And some of them might not pan out as you move up towards humans, but an awful lot of them do.
John Snell, Fox 8 Local First.